Joining me live in the studio is the Deputy Nationals Leader Perin Davey. So on the tax cut plan, the opposition leader says it depends on where the economy's at, where the budget's at. Are you comfortable with where the coalition stands on that issue?
Yeah, look, absolutely. What we know is our priorities need to be dealing with inflation, trying to get interest rates down, dealing with the cost of living pressures that everyday Australians are feeling every time they go to the supermarket, every time they get their power bill. The government has not been able to address those issues, and that's got to be our priority going forward. We've always said we'd like to look at tax reform, but right now, right here and now, we've got to get our priorities right. We need to do what the Australian people are asking us to do, and that's deal with the cost of living.
And tax cuts when you can.
When and if we can into the future. One thing we know is bracket creep is the most insidious issue when it comes to tax. So it's also something that we need to have a conversation about. It's something that can't be arbitrarily brought in without bringing the community along with us.
But right now, there's too much, essentially there's too much heat in the economy. So that's why Mr Dutton is revising that, because previously there were suggestions that there would be a revised plan, tax cuts at the higher end as well at the next election.
Yeah, but as we've seen, and we've got to wait until we actually get our hands on the numbers too and look at what position the economy's in, hopefully when we take government after the next election.
The Donald Trump administration, we've seen announcements, Elon Musk to lead a Department of Government Efficiency, Pete Hegseth, a Fox host, Army veteran as well, announced a new Defence Secretary. Lots happening on the United States side of things. What's your assessment of how this is all unfolding? And Kevin Rudd, can he remain as ambassador?
Well, I mean, one thing you can say about Trump is he doesn't waste any time. It is a completely different system over there. The president of the day gets to handpick his administration, which is what Trump is actively doing. Some very interesting choices. And look, Kevin Rudd...
What do you think of those choices, first of all?
It is up to Trump to decide his administration, and we'll see how it plays out. It is a different system over there, and it's one that is quite difficult for Australians to get their heads around, because in Australia our ministry is made up of people who are elected to the position. But what we can say about Kevin Rudd, he was handpicked as well by the Prime Minister. He is Anthony Albanese's choice. He has worked hard at establishing relationships in America, to give credit, but whether he can maintain those relationships going forward with the Trump administration is to be seen. I hope he can. I hope he works hard towards that end. And then it's up to Anthony Albanese, while he's still in charge, to determine whether his handpicked man is the right man for the job.
Yes, because and I think there's been an assessment from Scott Morrison and others that he's done a good job, Joe Hockey, but an ambassador needs to have some relationship to the administration of the day. And if the president isn't open to that, we saw Dan Scavino, one of his senior advisors, tweeting an hourglass on Kevin Rudd's message earlier, which sort of seems to suggest that time is running out for him.
Well,
That's pretty blunt.
I certainly hope that the effort is going in to actually building relationships right across the administration, not just with the president, but also right across the administration.
But you said, I mean, you rightly point out that so much power rests with the president and his own style, of course. And if that's coming from a senior advisor, it's not very subtle, is it? That they think that time is running out.
And as I said, it was Anthony Albanese's choice to send Kevin Rudd there, knowing that this was a potential outcome of this election, knowing that Donald Trump was still very much signalling he was going to run, and he chose to send Kevin Rudd, knowing that Kevin Rudd had a history of commentary about it. So we'll see what Mr Albanese chooses to do once we see the relationships that Kevin Rudd can build.
We will see. And just quickly, almost out of time, do you think that Mr Albanese should head to Mar-a-Lago, Florida?
Well,
off the back of this visit to the G20?
Almost there, isn't he? He's almost there, but that's up to Mr Albanese to decide, and also whether he can get an audience with Trump.